This is the Lockpicker 1969, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to the next episode of Interview with a Lockpicker. Today's guest is Keybeard. Say hi.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
So, where are you from?
Well, originally I'm from everywhere. I was lived in Wisconsin, but right now I'm actually in South Carolina.
Okay.
I've been here for 10 years.
My wife and I were just down there visiting my son. So
That's cool.
yeah, it was a good visit. A long drive, yeah, because we drove straight down and straight back. But yeah, that was rough, but great visit. So how and when did you get into locksport?
So how I got in locksport was, I'm gonna say it's from watching Bosnian Bill on YouTube. I got into it about, I'm gonna say 10 years ago, because I was a longtime collector of locks, and I would just buy locks from pawn shops or junk cheek shops. And
Oh,
then I just had a collection of locks, and I'd buy them with no keys and stuff, obsessed with them.
okay.
And
Now,
then,
well, you mentioned during the pre-interview that you were obsessed with them when you were a kid, just buying,
yes.
just getting keys and locks. So I thought that was kind of
Yep.
interesting.
Oh, yeah. When I was a kid, my mom always told me I would always ask for people's keys, I guess like pointing at them. And I don't think keys was my first word, but I'd say keys. And people would just give me their keys, and then they became mine. And I guess I was very good at hiding them until they had to like convince me to give them back. And then so I was just always been crazy about keys.
Okay. So
But
when did you start when did you start actually getting into picking them?
so picking them would probably be about 10 years ago. About that, I think I ran into some lockpicking videos on YouTube, mostly Bosnian Bill, and he made it look so simple, like really on just like the master locks. And my very first lock that I picked was a master lock number 3, and it was actually just a buddy's lock at work. And he's like, "You can't pick locks." I'm like, "I can give it a try." And so I just used a stapler or a staple and a pen cap pocket holder, like that metal piece on the pen cap as a tension wrench, and
Yeah.
I bent the stapler or the staple into a pick shape like a hook, and I just opened up this number 3. And then after that, I started buying the tools. So my first tool was, actually, I had to go back and look. It was a Hiyoshi tool, jackknife.
Okay.
I bought it from the Southward website,
Okay.
and I carried that around until I broke most of the picks off of it. And then that's when
Oh, okay, real
and,
quick. Real quick.
yeah.
Going back for a second. You say you used a staple because I know people are going to ask, what kind of
Oh, okay.
staple are you talking about? Because a regular staple from a stapler on a desk, I can't see but anybody fashioning something so small into a pick.
Right. It wasn't one of those. It was a like a staple that you would get out of like a cardboard box shipping staple, like those really heavy duty. I'd probably say like an 18 gauge
Gotcha.
thickness of a staple that I had to carefully bend because they break pretty easily where they've already bent them. And then I shoved it into an X-Acto blade handle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
still
making
have it,
sense.
actually, yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, and, actually, I used that for quite a while I was waiting for my tools to show up in the mail.
Okay.
So I got pretty good with the staple,
So
and then I just
go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
that's when I used the jackknife, and then I went from that to a Southward kit of like, I think it was like 10 picks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, was that a standard set or the Euro Slim set?
I'm pretty sure it was the standard set.
Okay. So like an
I think it came with like I think it came with like 10 picks and maybe 2 or 3 bottom of the keyway tension wrenches.
Okay, gotcha. So, did you stop utilizing or obtaining new picks after that, or did you get other ones?
I did stop for quite a while. I probably used that set for a couple of years because at that point I didn't realize there actually was like a quality standard in picks. I thought a pick was a pick,
Okay,
and I didn't really know too much about top of the keyway tension wrench, so I was always just bottom of the keyway
gotcha.
until I saw, I think it was Bozzy and Bill showing top of the keyway stuff, and that's when I learned about Sparrows, and they had top of the keyway, and so I started buying their pick sets, and that's just what I've been using since. From this day on, I've been using Sparrows, but I've
Okay,
actually just started dabbling into other companies.
okay. Like,
So I have a nice 27-piece set from Multi-Pick. Their Elite set,
yep, have that
which is
one.
very nice. I just did a review, and it's very nice. I've been playing with that one for a little while, and then Southern Specialties. A couple other people from YouTube I've been talking to, they introduced me to Southern Specialties, so I got a bunch of their picks. I got their the Force set, which is really neat. I think I said it in my video. It's actually a Star Wars themed, and I had no idea until I was actually playing with it. And I
Okay,
was like, these are lightsabers. The Force. Oh, okay, I get it. I get it.
all right.
Well, those are really nice. I like their thicknesses. Those ones are very nice. They have a different thickness, and like multi-pick, since they're German made, they're all in millimeters and not in thousands. So they're slightly different than like the 25 and the 15
Yeah,
that most people get. They're almost like 0.24 or 0.16. So they're either slightly bigger or slightly smaller,
gotcha.
which gives you a little bit more advantage in the keyways. Some of them.
Okay, so you said you got into lock picking 10 years ago. When did you get into lock sport?
When I got in the lock sport, was through Reddit, which was, I'm going to say 3 years ago.
Okay,
I actually didn't join Reddit for Locksport. I had no idea what Reddit was until a friend's like, you can look at all sorts of cool stuff on Reddit. And I just randomly typed in lockpicking. And all of a sudden, this big Locksport group popped up.
yep.
And that's when I jumped in. I'm like, I gotta join these guys. I need people to talk to about this stuff because my friends think I'm crazy. They don't do the lockpicking, you know.
Yeah, why do you got to learn
So
how
I
to
started
pick
jumping in on
locks?
that.
You gonna break into somebody's
Exactly.
house, or yeah, that's same
Yep,
ridiculous
I
argument.
got that a lot. You like, so you like lockpicking? I'm like, yeah. Oh, so you're a thief?
Yeah,
No, that has nothing to do with this.
yep, yep. So, what would you say was one of the challenges you faced when you were first learning lockpicking?
So I guess the challenges I was facing, so like standard picking stuff it came quite easy to me, like master locks and like any type of standard pinning. Um, the first challenge for me was an American lock, was my first security pins. And at that point, I didn't even know what security pins really were until I got a hold of an American lock and learned that I could take it apart. And
Hmm.
that's when I found the spools and the serrateds.
Yep.
And that was like the first lock that I actually kind of progressive pinned. Again, I didn't even know what that was until Reddit. I was just picking a solid locks without even looking at them before that. And
Okay.
so I started progressive pinning, learning all about how the feel of spools were, the feel of serrateds. And after I learned the security pins, it all kind of made sense to me feel wise for other locks as well.
Okay.
And then make sure you're using the right tension
Yep.
was always a fun one because I was always a light-handed tension kind of guy. Probably probably because of American locks. American lock core, you always have to use that real light tension. So
Yeah.
afterwards, I just kept on using light tension, and then I would kind of try heavier stuff if that wasn't working.
Okay. So
And then,
go ahead.
and then when I learned about top of the keyway and I got top of the keyway tension wrenches, it actually made it a lot easier for me to pick different
Oh,
locks instead of
yeah.
filling up the keyway
Yeah.
or the bottom of the tension. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was a big transition for me as well.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so you mentioned about Bosnian Bill and watching his videos really kind of getting you in your initial push to start trying to pick locks, but who else on YouTube would you say were influences on you?
Okay. So when I started watching Bosnian Bill, I also ran into Lockpicking Lawyer. So I watched a lot of Lockpicking Lawyer. I learned more from Bosnian Bill than
Yeah.
Lockpicking Lawyer, but he was pretty entertaining, Lockpicking Lawyer, just to watch him just plow through these locks that almost, at those days, for me, looked impossible. Yeah, you see him, and he was
Yeah.
he was very good at like explaining kind of what he was doing.
Yeah.
And like those two were actually the only two real YouTubers that I knew about at the time.
He's also got the most recognizable voice of all lock sporters,
Yes, he
I think,
does.
out there. My wife even knows, and she's not a lock picker, so she knows his voice as soon as it comes on a video that I'm watching.
I've seen his phrases come up on other stuff that wasn't
Yeah.
lockpicking.
Yeah. I have to.
Yeah, like people will say it as a joke and be like, "Oh, click on one." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's a good guy, and we owe him a lot for really kind of getting lock sporting going the way in the interest. So he draws a lot of people into it, and I give him credit for that. So anyway, are you pursuing the belt ranking system at all?
I am not. Like I've been asked this before, and I thought about it, but I'm not going to because it's not really what I like to do. So I respect the belt ranking system. It helps a lot of people kind of learn their locks, but for me, it's kind of like almost like tunnel vision in a way, where you want to go from one lock to this lock to get to this belt to get to this lock to get to this belt. So you're just kind of focused on just those locks. Where I like to just jump around and do whatever feels fun that week. Like for example, right now I'm playing with goals. I've never played with goals before, so I bought a couple off of somebody, and so now I'm learning those.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and quite frankly, I think it gives people, at least like the LPU belts, helps give people a sense of what should I try next. So
Yeah, it
um,
does. Like I mean, I completely respect the belt system. I have nothing against it.
Yep.
It's a great way to learn and do that stuff. It's just I was picking I was picking locks before I knew about the belt system. I think that's kind of what made it so like I don't really need the belt system kind of thing.
Okay. So have you worked with, picked, made challenge locks at all?
I have. Actually, I just picked my first challenge lock from Lock Junkie, and that's up on my YouTube channel. And I have another one coming in the mail, so I'm just starting to get into picking other people's challenge locks. I've built challenge locks, like I built some specifically for Bosnian Bill, but I never got them out to him in time. By the time I got him finished,
Gotcha.
he retired.
Yeah.
Which is, good for him. I'm glad he retired and on his own accord. But I do miss his videos.
Yeah, I do too. He was very honest.
Yeah.
Very
And
very
I
real.
Oh yes, like I liked his kind of, he had a rule system with his challenge locks he would get from people. So I kind of try to follow that. Like he has like he gets 3 chances, 10 minutes a try on your challenge lock. If he doesn't get it within that, he considers it he failed.
Okay.
And then
Fair enough.
it was kind of neat way to do it. Like I think he would continue to see if he could finally get it open, but if he couldn't get it within those 3 tries, he considered you beat him.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned the use of your channel. So what was the original reason for starting up your channel?
The original reason for starting up my channel was I wanted to, I guess, kind of showcase what I've been doing. I also want to help other lock pickers by hopefully explaining what I'm doing on picking. And I've noticed, um, since I started my channel, I've done 30 videos, I think,
Wow.
so far.
Okay.
And I get a lot of comments saying they've never heard of this lock, which to me, I thought it was a very common lock.
Okay.
Like one of them, one of my early videos, I did the American Lock 747. It's just a really cool, heavy, big American lock. It's really neat. But then I got a couple comments saying, I've never heard of this thing. I want one now. I was like, I thought everybody knew what this thing was. I know they don't make them anymore, but I thought maybe in the community, I thought everybody would be like, oh, that thing's so cool.
You realize you're feeding people's addictions, right?
Oh yeah, well they do it to me. I watch their videos. I watched a lot of people have been producing the goal locks, and I was like, well, now I have to do that.
Yeah.
Now I have to go and buy the goal lock and see what's so fun about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what's the future of your channel look like?
The future of my channel, I hope, I want to start learning. I want to start showing more on the history of maybe the lock companies themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Doing some teachings on how I make challenge locks, and like just also progressively showing my my work on locks, like how far I can go on picking up I guess you could say up the belt system, but I'm not using the belt system.
Well, maybe we can collectively work on something together. I do the challenge lock workshop already, and I do interviews of challenge lock makers and pickers and all that sort of thing, and how to do different things, making pins and so forth. So, be interesting to have a collaborative effort. Maybe we'll have to talk about that separately here.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
So, just to get a little bit of background that's not lock sport related, what do you do for a living?
So I work for a company called Southeastern Products. We're kind of like a woodworking advertisement company. Like we build all of the advertising for a lot of the major grocery store chains, like Lidl, Food Lion, Whole Foods. We do a couple gas stations, 7-Eleven, Sphinx. If you ever go into these stores and you see all the printed signs or a lot of like the shelving, we built all that. We printed all that. We made all of that. All the aisle marker guides, the register lights. We do a lot of that.
Okay.
And so I've been with them for about 10 years, and I've done just almost about everything in that company that you could do building wise. And right now I'm actually one of their printers, so I get to print all the posters and big signage and stuff that you see in grocery stores.
Okay, cool. So, when you're not doing lock picking or lock sport, what other hobbies do you pursue?
When I'm not picking, I like to do some longboarding. I just picked that up. Me and my wife learned for fun. I got a nice garden I'm going with. I play a little bit of saxophone, which sadly I haven't done in a little while, but I need to get back onto it. I like to be outside a lot, go hiking and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Look for locks on the road.
you mentioned woodworking too, which I assume goes along with what you do for a living. So,
Oh yes, I like to do woodworking. I've actually the desk that I pick my locks on. It's a I think it's like a 60s or a 70s style writing desk. That was originally my great grandmother's, and I completely restored it, and now I'm using it as my desk.
Now that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I can definitely appreciate that. So
And then
go
I
ahead.
also have a table that I did. I also have like a kitchen table that I've done that has like what do they call those leaf tables with leaves in it?
Yep.
I think it's also about the same time period, like a 70s, that I've completely had to redo
Very nice.
and turned out really nice. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna I want to get into this one real quick if we can.
hmm
Do you have any thank yous that you'd like to give to any other lock sporters?
Sure. Yeah, I could say. I'm gonna say thank you to one. First one would be Adam Harris. He's actually the guy. When I first started my YouTube channel, he found me in the comments, and then he did a shout out for myself, and then that's when my channel kind of exploded to where it is today. I mean, I only got 120 subscribers right now, but to me that was exploding. I didn't think I'd ever hit that. Uh,
Okay. All right.
and then Lock Junkie, I've been talking to him a lot. He's real great. He's real fun to talk to. His energy, it's just fun trying to match his energy. He's like he's like rooted into the whole lock picking community. Everybody seems to know who this guy is.
Yep.
He's real great. And then just everybody else has been so friendly. Just the entire community. Like, I've only been on YouTube for 3 months, but they make me feel like I've been hanging out with these guys for years.
Long lost friends. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Like
right.
even so I jump on to picking time with Lady Locks a lot just to listen, and I'll do the comments. And you would think you'd think someone would ask like, well, who is this? Who's this new person? No, they just go, hey, it's this guy. It's
Yeah.
Keybeard. Great. How's it going? You know?
Yeah. Yep. I admittedly miss being on picking time. Unfortunately, during a time period I can't do all of that. So I do miss it. I do miss it a lot. So
I tend to catch it at work, so I like to listen to it. I don't really watch. I just listen while I'm at work,
okay.
which
All
is a
right.
nice background.
Okay. So all right. So last question before we wrap up. What is your favorite thing about Locksport other than the community?
Oh, other than the community, I guess. So for me, I guess my favorite thing about the lock sport is just the variety of locks.
Yeah.
I am obsessed, like I said, since childhood, I've been obsessed with keys and locks. And now that I'm older, I have an opportunity to try to collect them all. I have an entire wall of locks that I get to try and play with, just the different ideas these companies have to try to make them more secure. When it comes to like pin tumblers to disc detainers to wafers, all that stuff is just all different. And then of course the history of all the locks is just so fun.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
I love researching history, so I can relate to that. All right. So,
Yep.
do you have a final message for our audience before we wrap up?
Oh yeah. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for letting me join into this community. Like I haven't gotten any negative feedback at all from anybody. Like when I first started the YouTube channel, I was at least expecting some sort of negative comments, like, oh, you're a joke or this is fake kind of thing. No, nothing like that. Everybody is just so supportive with each other. Like everybody knows everybody. The support you get from everybody is just amazing. And I just want to say thank you to the community for letting me jump in on this.
Awesome. I want to thank you for coming on and doing the interview. I had a lot of fun talking with you in the pre-interview as well, and
Oh, yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
quite a few laughs, and I appreciate that. So, all right, with that, I'm gonna start to wrap this up. If you haven't been interviewed yet, what's stopping you? Come forward. It's a fun process. I try to make it as fun as possible to just share your story. You don't have to be a extremely accomplished lockpicker to have a story to tell. Everybody has a story. So with that, I encourage people come forward, get interviewed, talk to somebody who has been interviewed, and ask them what the experience was like for them. So, all right. So with that, I'm going to say thank you for tuning in and listening. If you are a subscriber, thank you. If you are not yet a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications and all, and hit like on the video. And thanks for listening.